Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Saira.
Hello, Jena.
So we didn't have a show last week because we taped it, and then it was all out of sync.
Fail.
So,
sorry for the technical difficulties.
But that's okay, because we're going to give you twice as much goodness today.
That's right.
To make up
It won't
for
be twice as long, though.
No.
Though we could do that. We're going to try to keep on track. On time. So let us know when we're getting... I mean, they can't.
They can't let us know.
Oh.
Whatever.
Just keep watching.
Yes,
we'll make it worth your time. For sure. I'm Dr. Saira, and I'm a transpersonal psychotherapist and a co-founder of the Get Happy Club.
Yes, and I'm Jena Marcy, and I am a happiness coach and a couples therapist. And co-founder of the Get Happy Club.
Co-founder. And so today is your day to
get happy.
Finally! Oh my gosh, it took us only 30-something episodes to get happy.
It's been kind of the theme, but today we're just going to give it to you straight.
Just directly.
Yeah.
And we found that we are not always happy.
Yes, we have found that.
We want to be happy. We have an intention to be super happy, superly all the time.
Yeah, but sometimes it just doesn't play out that way. And there's a very good reason for that. Because when you feel contrast, which is those times when you're feeling a little bit down, things are not going exactly the way you want them to, that's the time when you start to know what I want and what I don't want. Mm-hmm. So, you go through, let's say you go through a family reunion one weekend and you realize that you didn't have a great time. What does that tell you? It tells you that you want to feel different around your family. You want to feel happier. You want to feel more like yourself. And you put that intention out there from then, knowing that that's what you want. You can go into the next family reunion with a different intention, feeling like things are going to be different. Do you want to talk about your story?
Sure. So I actually had a really incredible weekend with my family this weekend. And if you remember from a few episodes ago, I had told you about a really opposite of incredible weekend I had a few weeks ago with family. And I actually had a family member say to me, can I tell you something in confidence? I was like, sure. It's like, when this other particular family member's around, I don't really want to be in the room. I just want to get out of there. Mm-hmm. But it's his house, so he can't really just hang out in the basement. Well, he could, but people would, feel uncomfortable or unhappy with that. And so I said to him what Abraham says to us, which is, you have a choice. Right? So people around you can be on a lower kind of negative, kind of dark kind of space. She calls that a low flying disc, right? And you as a person might be more happy or more optimistic, and you might be kind of on a high flying disc. And so the temptation when you meet someone here is to just join them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when you feel uncomfortable because that's not who you are. Mm-hmm. That's not in alignment with your higher self. And so you join them in this unhappy place, and then you leave and you feel like, oh, why did I go to that event? Why did I give into that? Why did I have that conversation that I really didn't want to talk about? Why did I gossip or whatever? And so what I advised my family member was that, when this person comes around who is in this low space, your only job is to maintain your level. That's your only job in the family event. So if that means you talk to other people, you get yourself busy in the kitchen, you do whatever it is that's going to keep you up here, that's what you need to do. And the funniest thing was the next day, we were at this person's house, and it was me and him, and then this other person showed up. And we looked at each other, and I'm like, and he got it, and we all had such a great time. Everybody was laughing, and then that person kind of just left early, didn't really want to be there. And it was just a great time. But this person didn't let themselves be dragged down.
Exactly. You can so feel the energy in a room, right? Like when sometimes someone will walk in and everything changes. Mm-hmm. And that's because a lot of people aren't practiced at keeping their vibration. Mm-hmm. And I was like that too. Like if a family member of mine that I didn't get along with would come over, I would just be miserable. And I felt like I had no control over it. But then when I learned about Abraham and I learned that you can actually stay true to yourself no matter who's around, that's a new kind of freedom that a lot of us haven't experienced before.
Right.
Feeling free to be yourself and feel good no matter who's around, no matter what's going on.
And some of you, if this is your first time watching our videos, you might not know the background about Abraham, so let's take a minute to talk about that. So you might have heard about The Secret, right? It was like a big rave a few years ago. It was a book, it was a movie. And so the law of attraction is actually the foundational work of The Secret, which is very simple. It's a very simple law. It basically says, whatever you pay attention to, that's what will come to you. Yeah. That's it. That's the basic. That's how I explain it to my kids. Mm-hmm. And so Abraham is kind of the explainer of the law of attraction.
Right.
And so that's when we talk about Abraham.
Yeah. And Abraham's amazing. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, you can always just look up Abraham on YouTube and it'll change your life.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So today's your day to get happy. So what are you going to do to get more happy?
Yeah.
What do you do to get happy?
What do I... Well, so lately I haven't been feeling happy at all.
No.
And sometimes, it's funny. Sometimes when you're looking forward to something or there's like a big change coming up in your life, it can bring up all of these past controversies, all of these past feelings. Mm-hmm. So like for me, I'm getting married soon, and also we're starting our Get Happy Club, and also I'm moving. So there's like a lot of stuff in the air, and I've found that it's been hard to like maintain my focus. But what I do is every morning I give myself a fresh start, right? Because yeah, maybe for the last 3 days I was miserable, but if I wake up this morning and I keep thinking about how miserable I was for the last 3 days, I'm going to keep being miserable. Mm-hmm. When you can give yourself that time and space to create a fresh start, no matter when, mm-hmm. It could even be in the middle of a day. You can be saying like, you know what, this morning was shit, mm-hmm. but it's noon and it's a fresh start, or it's 12:47, it's a fresh start. Yeah. I'm going to start right now thinking about things that make me feel good. So I have a few techniques. What I'll do is I'll take out my journal and I will write down how I want to feel, right? So that's mm-hmm. going to be, so usually it starts with picking out that feeling. And usually that feeling is, maybe it's hope. Maybe I want to feel hopeful. Maybe I want to feel relief. Maybe I want to feel confident. Maybe I want to feel beautiful, right? Maybe I want to feel happy and joyful. So I write down what it is that I want to feel. And then I write down thoughts that kind of align with that. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's just like, things are getting better. Things are always working out. Everything happens for a reason. I'm allowed to feel good. No matter what's going on, I'm allowed to feel good.
I had a meeting this weekend, or mm-hmm. I had meetings all weekend, and I had a little piece of paper that I had written one of the Abraham quotes on, and it said something like, let's see if I can remember, it said, I am a non-physical being, and I came here to feel joyful. Mm-hmm. And I just written it down, and it happened to pop up in my notebook, and I just kept that page open, because sometimes those meetings are so freaking boring. Yeah. Oh my God. Like, you're just listening, but I found like just keeping on looking at that, and then somebody would crack a joke, or look at that, and suddenly like the coffee break happens, or, and just kind of remembering that I'm here to have a joyful experience, and that I'm not a physical being. Like, yes, this body is important and it carries us around, but at the end of the day, when this body is gone, my consciousness will still exist. Yeah. And what am I doing on a daily basis to ensure that consciousness is in alignment with the bigger consciousness, which is about joy, and about connection and happiness, and not about like worrying and suffering and telling a sad story and being bored in a meeting.
And all of that stuff is just resistance. So that's another thing, is to remind yourself that 99% of our energy right now is going into just resisting all the good stuff. So sometimes what I do is, if I'm really feeling down, I'll set my timer for 5 minutes on my phone, and I'll sit down and I'll just tell myself over and over, relax and let yourself feel good. Mm-hmm. Just relax and let it in. Relax and let it happen. There's nothing that you need to do right now in this moment to solve your problems. All you have to do is relax and let them get solved naturally.
Right. Because when you're not relaxed, you're not open.
Yeah.
And when you're not open, you're not getting good ideas, and you're not meeting the right people, and you're not moving forward. The other thing you can do to get happy is just take a nap.
Yes, totally.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I used to feel so guilty about naps, right? Like, so guilty. But think about toddlers, right? So what happens to my toddler is that certain time of the day hits, and all of a sudden I can see her behavior is changing, and she's getting grouchy, and it's spinning up, and it's spinning up. And then I have to convince her, but finally she's convinced to take a nap.
Yeah.
And when she wakes up from the nap, she's like sweet and cuddly and fresh. And it's like she forgot what a monster she was right before her nap. And I have to also forget what a monster she was. Yeah. I have to like be there with her in this cuddly, sweet space, and then we start again.
Because your thoughts carry a certain momentum. So if you keep thinking the same thoughts or similar thoughts over and over and over, the momentum is really strong. And it has to manifest in some way.
Oh my
gosh.
So
it can manifest in a bad mood. It can manifest in a fight. It can manifest in bad things happening, because that momentum is so strong. And the only way to ease that momentum is to take a nap or to refocus your energy, right? So that's why this stuff works, because what it does is it slows down that momentum, so then you can pick it up and have it going in the direction that you want it to go in.
So I have a story that I haven't told you this one.
Okay.
It just happened yesterday
Okay.
on the plane. Okay, here we go. An example of when shit goes wrong. So I was traveling on a very short flight from Calgary to Vancouver. And I was checking in. And when I was checking in, there's an option to upgrade my seat. Now, the last time I flew, we got upgraded like complimentary, and I had such a great experience. I had so much leg room, and the kids were happy. And I thought, and I remember saying to my husband, I love paying a little extra and getting the better seat. So when it came the option, I said, I'm going to pay the extra. Now, it wasn't a lot. It was $21 because it was such a short flight. But I'm like, I'm going to pay the $21 and get my good seat. And I was feeling good. So I was checking in, and I was sitting in a family gathering, and I'm like, hey guys, should I like pay $20 and get the bigger seat? And everyone was like, yes! So I'm like, okay! And I like paid the credit card right on my phone. And then the next day comes, and I'm ready to take my flight, and everything's great, and I'm having a wonderful time. I get through security, and there's a woman in front of me with a dog in her little like dog carrier bag. And I was like just watching her, and she was like fumbling, and I was sending her love, and she was fumbling, and it was fine. I wasn't getting frustrated because I had lots of time. I put my stuff through, and then my stuff goes through, and they said, do you have any liquids? And I said, whatever I have in the bag. My dad had cooked me some home-cooked food, and it was a bit runny, like a soup kind of thing. And I didn't mention it. Maybe I should have, but I was like, oh yeah, I don't think, like, it's kind of like, whatever. It's not like a liquid. I should have known better. Anyway, it goes through the x-ray machine, so they take it out, and they're like, well, this is a liquid, so you can go outside and eat it if you want. I'm like, well, no, I don't have time for that. I'll just throw it away. And as soon as they threw it away, I just felt like the sinking feeling, right? So I felt the sinking feeling, and then I'm like, it's not really that big of a deal. It's going to be okay. So I tried to like talk myself out of it, but I'm still feeling low. And so I got to the, waiting, and I had an intention to read my book, but I didn't do that. I did other like energy draining things, like going on social media and like whatever. And then finally, and then I looked at my ticket. Now remember, I've paid extra.
Yeah.
Which feels like a big deal for me. Even though it's $20, I did pay extra. But I'm zone 5, which means I'm one of the last people on the plane.
Oh.
Stupid, right? If anybody here who's watching works for the airline industry, you gotta fix that. Tell your supervisor. So anyway, I'm in zone 5, and I've got my hand luggage, and the woman in front of me, so remember, I have this sinking feeling. I haven't been able to shake myself, so I'm in this kind of down space.
Yeah.
Not really down, like it's just a small thing. But the woman in front of me gets stopped, and they're like, we need to check your hand luggage, it's too big. And she's like, no, it's not too big. And they're like, put it in the tester.
Oh, I hate the tester.
Yeah, so she puts
the tester's so small.
She puts it in the tester, and it doesn't fit. So then she's standing there, she's mad, like her face is red, and she's like, this has never happened to me before, and I fly all the time, and I have a meeting to get to on the other, like she was mad.
Yeah.
And I was watching her, and I was like kind of getting pulled into that, and I was getting mad for her.
Yeah.
And then they stopped me, and they're like, put it in the tester.
Oh no.
So I put it in the tester, and my suitcase is fine, but it was like stuffed a little too much. I had to take a few things out. So here I'm like taking the things out, putting them in my other bag, and people are like walking by with their damn big bags.
Yeah.
So I get to the plane, I get to my seat, and there's someone sitting in my seat that I've paid for. So he's like, and it was a couple, and like kind of a middle-aged couple, and he's like, can I just sit here because my wife and I want to sit together, and my seat's over there in the middle.
He booted you out of, what was it, a window or an aisle?
An aisle.
He booted you out of an aisle to a middle? Oh, you don't do that.
So the old Saira would have said, oh, okay. But the new Saira said, wait a minute, I paid for the seat. And so I said, actually, sir, I've paid extra for this seat, and I'd really like my own seat. And I felt self-conscious because like everybody's listening, and like I felt like, oh, that ogre. I'm like, no, it's only fair. Like, yeah, right? I paid extra for this, right? And so he moved to the window.
Yeah.
And there's no room for my bag. So I go all the way to the back of the plane. They find me a spot for my bag. I have like my other bag is overflowing with my towel and my blow dryer and everything in my other bag. So I get back up to my seat. I sit down. Now remember, he's by the window, his wife is in the middle, and I'm in the aisle.
What happened to the person in the window seat?
There wasn't anyone there yet. It was empty.
Oh, okay.
But then she arrived.
Right, of course.
Like a force.
And he's like, oh, just go take my middle seat.
Exactly!
It's okay, it's right over there.
But she was a force! She was like, I'm not taking your middle seat. And all of a sudden there's this like scuffling like energy, and I was like, and so he gets out, like we all get up, he gets out, And then she's like fumbling because now she can't find a spot for her bag. She's like going to the back of the plane, comes back, and then I'm trying to get out of my seat and she just like barges right in front of us and like gets into her seat, like climbing over us. And it's such a bad experience.
Oh my gosh.
All because my heart dropped over that homemade cooking thrown out.
So I know that in the past, before I knew about the law of attraction, I would have said something like, Saira, don't you think that maybe your bad feeling was like a premonition? Like you intuitively knew that things were going to go wrong. But now that I know about the law of attraction, I'm thinking, well, when you feel really good, those things just don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just on a higher vibration. But the downside, not really a downside, but when you start feeling good all the time, those feelings of negativity really get to you.
I know.
Like you can just be slightly lower than normal and it's like, oh my God, what's wrong? What's going to happen?
That was yesterday. And like, it's such a silly example, right? Like the guy threw out my soup. Not a big deal.
But
it's fun. And then I was so like worked up on the plane. Like I had this big plan to, again, my book, right? So the book that I didn't read in the lobby, and I didn't even read on the plane because I started reading it and I was so exhausted with everything and then I just fell asleep. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up and I had to wait for everybody to get off the plane because my bag was at the back. And then the guy, the air, like whatever they're called, the steward? The airline
flight
guy?
Attendant.
Flight attendant. I'm like, what's the gender neutral word for the flight attendant? He's like, oh, somebody's forgotten their bag. I'm like, it's mine. He's like, oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I'll bring it up to you. And as soon as he did that, I was like, oh. And that feeling, then I had a lovely rest of my evening. Just because of that one little...
But it's good to know that even if you get down for a little while, you can get right back up, right? It just takes a little bit. It takes some patience.
A nap. I took a nap.
A nap, waiting for the momentum to subside, and then starting it back up again. So that's kind of a really positive story. Because because the rest of your night wasn't ruined.
Right. I got happy.
You got happy.
Ah.
You got happy. You know, before I learned about the law of attraction, sometimes those funks would last me a week.
Mm-hmm. And like one bad thing and another and another and another and another.
Yeah, and bad stuff just kept happening. And I was like, I'm unlucky. There's something wrong with me. What's going on? Karma. It must be karma. Maybe I did something in a past life.
Yeah, like, I'm stuck in traffic. Maybe I did something in a past life.
But no, that's not what it is. It's literally just your thoughts and your emotions.
Your emotions.
Yeah.
You're feeling that sinking feeling that I had. That was the beginning of like a whole... And I think why that even happened, I have this pattern of good shit happens and then bad shit happens.
And that's your thought.
That's my thought, right? That anytime something really,
really good happens,
weekend. I had an incredible weekend. And like I said goodbye to my friends and my family. And then I was standing in the line. And then something bad's going to happen now. And it did.
And a lot of people have that belief that you get good with a bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to be that way. And it doesn't have to be that way for very long.
Yeah.
Right? Like as soon as I had my little nap, I woke up and I felt better. And then good things started happening again.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a nap because I'm like, oh, I should have a nap to reset my mood so I can get happy. It was just like, I'm freaking exhausted. I'm having a nap.
And that's the thing, right? We have learned through experience, through time, through learning that when you feel good, good things happen to you. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, that was my motivation. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on getting happy so that good things will happen to me because the law of attraction says that when you feel happy, good things happen to you. And that's a very different feeling than just feeling happy for the sake of feeling happy. Because what we don't realize is that the happiness itself is the manifestation. And since I've been, like I was telling you guys, for the last 3 days, I've been in a real funk. It's been really hard for me. And the thought of just being happy to be happy feels like it would be the biggest blessing in the world. Like that's like what I'm waiting for. Like just to be happy for the sake of being happy and for nothing else. Mm-hmm. I know that when I get happy, good things are going to start happening. I know that things are going to work out.
Do you know the hashtag that I use?
What?
Hashtag happy for no reason. I'm going to challenge you guys this week. Take pictures of things in your life that hashtag make you happy for no reason.
Okay, I got to learn how to do that.
Just like two, like a fit number 2.
Does it matter which way it is?
Not really. It's kind of cooler if you do it that way. Hashtag happy for no reason. Right? So that's what we're talking about. It's just like random stuff that makes you happy for no reason. It's like a kid.
Yeah.
They're just happy for no reason.
Exactly.
You like give them a balloon, they're like, wow! You give them a straw, they're like, wow!
A box. Boxes are huge. Oh, boxes are big ones.
So my daughter, my aunt gave my daughter a bunch of like gifts, right? So I came back off this trip and there's all these presents. Shopkins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shopkins.
So she's so excited about the shop. She's taking each one out of the container, taking it out. And then it's like, you know that little like label that says Shopkins?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, and I got a card! A Shopkins card! I'm like, that's a freaking label. But she's so excited about anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Every little thing. Exciting.
Yeah. Can you imagine if life was like that? If it was just like, oh, a cup of coffee!
Oh my god!
I love coffee! Coffee's the best!
You'd have a lot more energy.
And when you get excited about stuff, suddenly everything's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
A red curtain! I love red!
And I mean, some people's personalities aren't as expressive as we are.
But
on
inside. On the outside, you'll be like, yes, red.
Coffee.
And on the inside, you'll be like, red! Happy for no damn reason.
No reason.
I like that.
Yep.
And that's also the premise of our Get Happy Club. It's literally a place for people to come to get happy for no reason other than just to be happy.
People ask me, like, why are you doing this club? Like, is there, like, unhappiness or different? I'm like, no.
No, it's
We
not
just
about
feel
that.
like it. It's no good reason.
We like being happy. We feel like we're happier when we're around other happy people.
Yep.
Really, it's a selfish way for us to just gather a community of people that we can feel good around.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
And that's okay.
Yep. For no reason. Happy for no
Whatever
reason.
makes us happy. And you know what? When you start living your life just thinking about what thought is going to make me feel good in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
the day just feels so good,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because your intention is not to check off a bunch of things on your to-do list. It's not to, show off. It's not to do things because you think other people want you to do them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just to feel good.
Yep.
And you start making very different choices.
Show off. That's a really loaded term, hey?
It is. It just slipped out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it make you...
It makes me feel loaded.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
It feels loaded. Not from, because I think that's one of those things about being humble and you don't want to be a show-off. But I love being a show-off.
Yeah, why not?
I really like it.
Yeah.
I love showing off. My house, my kids, myself, my work, my friends.
That's why that is a huge motivator for people to do anything. That's why a lot of people get into the careers that they get into. That's why a lot of people marry the people that they marry. That's why a lot of people drive the cars that they drive. It's not because they love the car. It's because they love the way that people look at them when they have the car. And they want that joy from other people, right? And that's what I think a lot of us have been like growing up, right? We think that we can feel happy when other people approve of us, or when other people are jealous of us, or when other people, look upon us with wonderment or whatever.
So I think the way that I'm showing off now is more like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, look at this. Look at this cool reindeer sculpture that I got for my Christmas decorations. Like, it's not like, and you can't have it because I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you can have it too. Anybody can have it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like the showing off is not about, because I remember being about 17 or 18 and walking, on flights by myself. Like, because my family likes to travel, and so we're always flying, ha ha ha. And I would be like posturing like this, world traveler, ha ha ha. Like feeling like everybody's watching me. I don't give a shit. Nobody cares. Nobody watching.
Cares, yeah.
But I was like showing off. And now I'm not showing off, but people are noticing me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. But it's interesting because a lot of the reasons that we do anything that we do is because we want to feel better, right? So as an 18-year-old, you thought that if you felt like you were a world traveler and like people were interested in you, that it would make you feel better. Right. And now what's changed is that you've decided to feel good. And so what you wanted all these years is now happening to you because you're feeling good, right?
Because I'm not trying to do anything or be anybody.
Yeah, you're focusing on feeling good first.
Right.
And that's when that's what we're talking about, manifestation. Stuff starts to happen. Like, Saira and I have a million examples of the last 6 months, how crazy things have just happened to us. Mm-hmm. Because we're not focused on this stuff. We're focused on really feeling good. Mm-hmm. And when we stop focusing on that, or when certain times it becomes hard, it feels really hard because we're so used to feeling good and getting good stuff.
Right. And getting good stuff and getting like good opportunities and meeting great people. And so when I meet this like crazy powerhouse tyrant that comes and sits in... Did I tell you about the flight to to Calgary? Mm-mm. Oh my gosh, that was a completely different story. I did not pay for anything extra.
Yeah.
I just got, and I was in a middle seat.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down, and just before I sat down, the guy behind me is like, oh, I think I'm at the window, so why don't I just squeeze in first?
Mm-hmm.
So he went in first. The most beautiful man I've ever in my adult life laid my eyes on. Just stunning. Like, he just walked off the page of a magazine. And I was just like, what? Sitting by the window. And the other side was like an equally handsome man. And I was in the middle of these two, like,
Man-witched.
wow!
Man-witched in.
Holy! And they're like chatting with me, like blah, 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 blah. But I kind of wanted an aisle seat.
Okay, that would be my nightmare, what you're describing. I'd be like, oh my god, do I smell weird? Is my food going to be weird?
And I was
Am I
drinking
able
my
to
coffee.
eat?
My
What if they
new
judge
glass.
me?
Yeah, no, I was like, whoo! I'm so excited! Like, maybe I could convince them to join our Get Happy Club. That was my thought. I wanted to, like, talk to them. But I also had the thought, I want an aisle seat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was just a little tiny thought in the back. Like, I wish I could have had an aisle seat. So then we start chatting, the three of us, like mostly me and this guy and a little bit this guy, and we're just kind of chatting and joking around and talking about the weather or whatever. And we kind of hear, you know how they have to like brief the people in the emergency exit rows? So the seats in this row don't recline because they're in front of the emergency exit.
Right.
So the guy beside me is like, oh, my seat doesn't recline. He's like, yeah, I kind of want an aisle seat. We're like, oh, well, good company, whatever, we're chatting. So it turns out the people behind us don't speak English. And you have to speak English to be in that aisle. So everybody got rearranged so that those two guys ended up sitting together. Yeah. I sat in front of them in the aisle. And he got his reclining seat, I got my aisle seat, and I didn't have to, like, I could actually read my book. I know, right? I'd rather read a book than talk to hot guys on the plane. Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd. But I was like, yes, I got my aisle seat, and I'm not distracted by these hot men, so I can read my book.
So you were able to have awesome conversations with two hot men.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got your aisle seat. You got to read your book.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
That was the way there. Because I was just, like, high-flying.
Yeah.
And then the way back.
Yeah, and when you get happy and when you... So here's the thing. You can get happy a million times in your day, right? And when you're in that space, that's when good stuff happens. It's not like... Happiness is not like you get happy and then you're there forevermore. You have to keep on... you have to keep on focusing and you have to keep refining that skill, right? Mm-hmm. But when you get happy, all these awesome things happen. And it's like amazing incentive to stay the course. That's why it feels so bad when you feel out of alignment. Because you're like, oh my God... What am I missing out on? Like, what hot men am I not talking to right now because I'm not feeling good?
Like, that middle seat would have been fine.
Yeah, it would have been fine.
But in the back of my mind, I had
this
a better idea.
Better.
This or something better. Wow. So that's another thing. If something's, like, good, but not exactly what you want, then you say, oh, this or something better.
Yeah.
Right? And you just keep saying that in your mind, this or something better.
And if you're in a situation that feels really difficult, the way to move through it, because a lot of people might be watching saying like, okay, that's great that you're happy and like flying all over the place with these hot men, but I'm in this really crappy situation, so what the hell am I supposed to do? But what you do to move through the situation is to recognize what's good in the situation and focus only on what's good in the situation. I'm totally going to start taking that advice too. My own advice that I just gave. Because when you can focus on what's good in your situation, what you do is you amplify that goodness in the situation to the point where the situation itself will change, right? Because things are always evolving. Things are always changing. We are always changing.
Right.
So when you're focused on the good, that part gets bigger. And as the situation changes, it's going to be more good, more good, more good, more good, because that's what you're focused on.
And if you want to deeper dive into this particular thing that Jenna's talking about, we actually did an entire episode called Choose Your Focus.
Yes.
So check that one out. And the other one you want to check out is Getting Out of the Funk and the Happiness Hangover. Mm-hmm. All of those three have something to do with what we've talked about today.
Very good. Right? Wow, it's all
linkages
up there.
Linkages.
Man, I could not remember
you know
one
why?
of those titles.
I'll tell you why. Because I watch us. Oh. When I'm feeling down, I'm like, I'm going to go watch Jenna. I forget that, like, I'm also on the couch, and I'm like, Jenna has some good stuff to say, so I'm going to watch her. And then I watch her, and then I listen to you. And then I'm like, oh, I'm there too. I probably know this stuff too. That's how I know all the topics.
Yeah.
I think I'm our biggest fan. Me and my mom, we're our biggest fan.
At least someone's watching.
Those two views, yeah, right there.
Well, it's true. It really does help, though, just to get some additional knowledge. Like, I watch us, too.
See?
I do.
Oh, that's why we have 3 views.
Yeah, I do watch us. Sometimes I'm like, I remember, we talked about this. I don't have to stay stuck here.
Right.
Like, I can move through this.
Right. So this is actually really great for us, too, because we have to keep living what we're teaching. And we're not perfect. Yeah. Dude, we're just normal people who happen to go to school in psychology. and who thought that it would be cool to share some of this with the world.
Yeah.
We're going through our own stuff, and so, but we're spending a lot more time.
Yeah, we're spending a lot of time
being happy.
We're spending a lot of time thinking about this stuff, and really our focus is on focusing on joy, right? And I think that's what shifted the most.
Mm-hmm.
I know in my life that's been the biggest blessing, the biggest happiness is just that I've decided that it's okay to feel good, right? Like that's it. It was just that one decision that changed everything. I decided it's okay to feel good. And then I met someone who reinforced that in me all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so now when I come over here, even if I've had a horrible few days, at the end of the day, I'm sitting on this couch feeling good, right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
And we want to do that for you too, which is why we're starting the Get Happy Club. So if you're interested in feeling good, come to the Get Happy Club. We will help you get there because we are just as interested as you are.
Right.
And we know some tricks.
We totally know some tricks, and we're going to share those tricks with you. We're going to share all kinds of like really juicy tidbits. Our first Get Happy Club is this week.
Yes.
So it would have already happened by the time we air this. So,
but it's every Thursday.
Yeah.
And that might change too, but for now it's every Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Thursday evening, 6:30 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want details, send us a message.
Yes.
It is for people who are kind of close to the Surrey, BC area, but for those who are out of town or out of the country,
we'll be Facebook Live.
We're gonna be Facebook Living. So check us out on Facebook. Jena Amarsi and Dr. Saira. We both have Facebook pages, and so you'll find our stuff there for the Facebook Live that tells you more about what we're actually talking about. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do a better job of like getting all this stuff online. We just haven't figured it out yet, but for now, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So if you're interested in happiness, reach out to us. Even if you live in Alaska, we will we'll help you any way we can.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and if you live in Alaska, we might.
See you there.
We might see you there. More to come. That's a secret for another time.
Okay, so today is your day to get happy.
Get happy.
Be happy for no other reason than just to be happy.
Yep. Hashtag,
what was the hashtag again?
Happy for no reason.
Happy for no reason.
Bye, guys.
Bye.